juice, instant Toad, just add water, Joan Jett, and Christina Aguilera.
You don't mess with Mama.
Hello World, a new nature series with stories and songs from music's biggest stars. Sunday nights at 9.
Mighty Ships, Thursday nights at 9:50 on Discovery Science.
Taiwan is better known for its commercial pop offerings in the international Chinese music market. But in the last 2 decades, new voices that do not conform to market trends have slowly emerged, with one of the most prominent sounds in recent years being also one of Asia's loudest. Audiences are growing for a new Taiwanese brand of music that sounds so starkly different from the more familiar radio-friendly pop tunes. Here in Taiwan, independent musicians earn just as much attention and have just as much star appeal as their better-groomed commercial counterparts. Even with much less marketing effort to promote themselves, independent musicians are winning legions of loyal fans, hungry for their unique brand of music. Voices that seem to resonate with the people's spirit. Thonic is an extreme metal band and one of Taiwan's biggest independent music exports. With a cult following that now spans across Asia, Europe, and even the US. While the music and antics of this group seem to belong more to a niche subculture, the band has actually gained mainstream attention, winning awards like the Golden Melodies, a prize usually reserved for Taiwan's more commercial pop stars.
闪灵啊，是一个态度啊，
还有思想都在表他有东西，然后音乐就特别好听，就是一种认同，你知道吗？
写一些台湾的故事嘛。那有的时候我们台湾人自己不知道，反而不知道台湾的故事，然后从他唱，结果反而自己会去看一些书，然后看一些去研究一下。
因为语言，然后还有他旋律，还有他唱的那种劲道，有深入我心这样。
With the recent signing of a contract with global heavyweights Spine Farm Records under Universal Music, Thonic looks set to make their mark on the global mainstream market. But many in the industry credit this Asian band's meteoric rise to the main driving force behind their music, Freddy Ling. Freddy started Thonic in 1995 with the aim of introducing the concept of extreme metal to a country that was still very much dominated by Chinese pop music, singing songs of happiness and heartache. Thonic's music was to have much louder messages. Their beginnings were humble, with Freddy having to make his own deliveries of the band's self-pressed CDs. Their first album, released in 1999, sold a few thousand copies within just 3 months. This is a feat never before seen, especially on an island yet to be exposed to heavy metal as a form of music and art. Now, almost 15 years later, since Thonic's first foray into the music scene, Freddy is ready to bring his brand of Asian extreme metal music to the world stage. He believes that he owes his and Thonic's phenomenal success to the simple fact that they are Taiwanese. Like most other Taiwanese, they've come to find their own space within their ultra-liberal city of Taipei, the very heart of the island regime.
我觉得有一部分是台湾是最自由的地方，这个占有我觉得90%的原因是这样子。到了高3大1的时候，我开始发现我最喜欢听的就是像现在闪灵的这一种，我们泛称它 extreme metal 好了。 这一类的音乐。那个时候台湾其实没有什么创作团啦，全部都是 cover band。那这当然跟历史有关啦。那台湾从以前美军驻台的时候，当然有这样子的需求，所以台湾人玩团，他要去符合美国大兵的需求嘛。美国人要听什么就要唱给他听嘛。那这个又可以赚钱。但是后来美国人走了以后，台湾人还是用一样的方法玩团，玩了10-20年。所以那个时候我组那样的团，蛮多前辈其实是蛮不看好的，而且觉得没什么意思这样啊。Freddy 一定到最后也是这样，但后来就不是这样。对。
Freddy's efforts in the independent music scene have propelled him into the headlines in Taiwan. But it is a recognition that extends beyond the dark imagery of Thonic and its sonic cacophony. Freddy's influence in Taiwan's cultural landscape extends beyond music. Freddy is a self-designated spokesperson when it comes to both political and social issues. It's an area that Freddy chooses to tread very precariously alongside his musical career. There are many who do not agree with Freddy, accusing him of using politics to further his own career. But for Freddy, social activism is a personal calling. It's a passion that began parallel to his love for extreme metal music. Between 1948 and 1987, Taiwan remained under martial law. This is the longest period of martial law anywhere in the world. Many see the lifting of the law as the catalyst for Taiwan's rich and vocal popular culture. In the late 80s, student movements that were fervently fighting against martial law shifted their energies toward reviving popular culture, a landscape which was very much a blank canvas at the time. In 1989, just 2 years after the lifting of martial law, Taiwan's independent music scene was born. The pioneers were a group of musicians known as Blacklist Studios. Independent of any major record label, they released their own offering of rock and hip-hop. Their album, Songs of Madness, sang about daily social issues in Taiwanese life. Many other bands soon followed in the early 1990s. Among them, Freddy's Thonic. Over the last 10 years, the number of independent bands playing outside of the commercial mainstream has exploded from just under 50 in 1989 to over 500 in 2009. Along with the musicians, audiences grew alongside.
From '89 until now, I guess we're at, we're almost 20 years now, but it's pretty much mirrored the global experience of pop music, but compressed into 15 years.
During the infant years in this boom of popular culture, 2 young Americans, straight out of the Seattle grunge music movement, made their way to Taichung, Taiwan in early 1991. Jimmy Mo and Wade Davis were fresh out of college and looking for adventure. They came to travel through the country, earning their keep as English teachers in a fast liberalizing Taiwan. They would eventually make Taiwan their home. Taiwan became the bedrock upon which Jimmy and Wade built their own lasting legacy to the Taiwanese independent music scene.
Back in early 90s when we started playing together in a band called Dribdos, and as soon as we had enough songs together to actually play a set, we were looking for places to play. And I think because our music was kind of unique enough, probably hard for a lot of people to listen to, we really had to find places or make places where we could play.
Jimmy and Wade started organizing small music parties in remote areas and beaches outside of the urban cities. Through these parties, there evolved a new community of musicians and fans. A strong DIY ethic began to emerge. Concerts were organized by pooling together resources from partygoers themselves. Applying this formula, in 1994, Jimmy and Wade would eventually organize what was to become the island's biggest independent music festival. In springtime, the quiet tranquility of this seaside town gets interrupted, shaken by Taiwan's most important independent music festival. Important, not because it boasts a lineup of the biggest independent Taiwanese bands, not because it features big-name guests from overseas. Spring Screen is important because this is the mother of all independent music festivals in Taiwan. It was, in a word, a Woodstock. By its third year, it gained widespread media attention. Spring Screen pushed independent music and its culture into mainstream consciousness. It inspired millions of young Taiwanese to play or record or take in an alternative art form. It introduced a broader variety of music to all Taiwanese. With Spring Screen, independent music was more than just about music. It became a lifestyle. At Spring Screen, audiences seem to celebrate an indie spirit embodied by all manner of independent musicians, from seasoned performers to fresh young acts looking for their big break. The all-girl punk group BB Bomb is one such band of the Spring Screen performing alumni.
我觉得春天呐喊跟其他的音乐节很不一样，我们很喜欢去，主要是因为它地方很自由嘛，而且是在一个很远的地方，重点是要去放松，并不是说要去听音乐的，所以其实去就是大家快乐就好。
In 2009, Spring Screen had 270 bands playing across 5 stages and was attended by 10,000 music fans, Taiwanese and visitors the world over. For Jimmy Mo, Spring Screen has turned out to be a monster of an organizing exercise. Over 600 bands apply to play at Spring Screen every year. With the 2009 Spring Screen over, Jimmy is happy to enjoy a slower change of pace, with time to reflect on how Spring Screen created a revolution in Taiwanese music.
It was actually a big group effort. I think we were just sort of the tip of the spear to make that happen, but I think that was the spark that started the fire.
Today, Jimmy Mo and Wade Davis live in different parts of Taiwan. It's been months since they've met. Today, Jimmy will make a 2-hour drive to the city of Taichung to reconnect with his old friend and longtime partner. There, they will recollect the moments spanning the many years of the iconic festival known as Spring Screen. 2,000 miles away at another city, another independent musician is about to make her journey from her hometown in Singapore to Taipei. Hopeful of making her mark in a city she knows to be the mecca of Chinese independent music. Taiwan has long been recognized as a cultural hotspot for music, both commercial and independent. Alongside its prolific Chinese pop market, there are another 500 independent bands, each offering their own unique brand of original music, making the island the most vibrant hotbed of music after Japan. The Taiwanese independent music phenomenon has long been a source of inspiration for many other Asian musical communities, notably Singapore. Singapore has had many musical exchanges with Taiwan, with many Singaporean commercial singers and songwriters operating in Taipei itself since as early as the mid-1990s. But more recently, with the boom of Chinese independent music in Singapore, many of these independent musicians have also started looking to Taiwan as a possible point of export for their own music. Among them is the Singaporean all-girl pop-punk outfit, Tootser. Tootser is a young all-girl band who hit the headlines when they won a popular nationwide band competition broadcast on primetime television. Now, almost 6 months after their prolific win, the band remains unsigned by any major record label, and they've decided to continue producing music independently. An opportunity to further their musical careers has come up in the band's nascent career.
So the studio is ready, yeah, almost done.
Carissa, the bass player, has secured a 2-month student exchange program at a university in Kaohsiung, a city in the southern reach of Taiwan. The band hopes to capitalize on Carissa's time there to bring their music to Taiwan.
Today's a week before I leave for Taipei, and the band's trying to get our demo together so that we'll be able to present it to the Taiwan crowd. Well, basically, I think Taipei is probably the mecca where all the bands are sprouting, and it would be interesting to really go there and see what the underground scene in Taipei like.
All right, we're done.
This is the scene that awaits her. Taiwan's vibrant youth culture seems to celebrate all forms of artistic expression, including alternative ones. It's a culture that has nurtured the likes of Fufu and BB Bomb.
我觉得其实台湾的环境很好，就是台湾的生活很安全嘛，你没有像大陆那样子要这么的拼，然后可是又不像日本这么的精致，是介于一个很尴尬的时候。
Even with a bustling music scene, Fufu has to endure some challenges on the personal front. Fufu is one of the few female voices in a musical genre that remains very much male-dominated. Fufu is an art school graduate who heads the all-girl punk band BB Bomb, a group that has been quietly gaining acclaim in independent music circuits across Asia. The band has won quite a following after producing 2 independently released mini-albums. They're currently in talks with a Beijing-based record label, and they look set to invade the hugely untapped Chinese market. Fufu is among a growing breed of independent musicians who have managed to create viable, albeit modest, careers as independent musicians. She has her own views, however, on the state of Taiwan's independent music scene.
现在台湾乐团已经越来越不独立了。那至于现在发展这么快，是因为大家越来越以取悦别人为起点，然后所以连听流行歌的人也可以接受，所以很快的就会发展得很快。
For Fufu, playing music is in itself a lifestyle, and playing in a band is a form of social interaction with the community at large. As far as work is concerned, it's a necessary evil. Necessary to survive in a city like Taipei. Fufu has given up trying to find a real job because she feels it limits her ability to commit to her band. Instead, she prefers to do freelance design work to earn her keep. It's common practice for Taiwanese independent musicians to hold down a few odd jobs, keeping music as their focus over a regular career. Their earnings are meager at best, but it is a lifestyle that helps them stay true to their musical aspirations.
这就是我自己设计的本子，然后我自己平常会画一些图，然后把它拿去印刷厂印，然后找一些寄卖的店家去寄卖，然后大概固定1个月收1次钱这样子。我都几乎没有主要工作，几乎都是每个工作都是一部分的，因为玩团变数很多，所以我没有办法找到那种每天固定上下班的工作这样。
走。
For Fufu and the community of musicians she socializes with, money is a scarce commodity. So her lifestyle revolves around activities that don't cost too much. It's all about the music. And for Fufu, it's very important to maintain a state of mind that helps her write the best music she possibly can. For some other musicians, however, Fufu's lifestyle is a luxury that they can only dream about, as they have other things on their minds beyond just music. Freddy Lim of the extreme metal band Thonic is a self-designated spokesperson for many social and political issues he feels strongly about. While his actions have attracted a backlash from many who question his motive, Freddy argues that his involvement is not only a matter of calling, but a duty he must fulfill.
我也很希望可以做一个什么都不用管的人了。那只要关在自己的房间里面玩音乐，然后写歌，然后 tour 演唱会表演，然后喝酒，像那个好莱坞的电影里面演的那样的一个 rock star 的状况就好了。那个是我最期待的，但是我觉得现实就是没有办法。我走了，拜拜，拜拜，大家加油了，大家加油，
加油，拜拜，
对，拜拜。
While Freddy may be a fervent activist for social change, politics is a grey area that many other musicians in Taiwan dare not tread. There are many other musicians in the generation after Freddy's who believe that their time is put to much better use by focusing solely on honing their music.
我是会有那个感觉，可是很少去写，因为我会觉得，对我这人来说，政治不是很重要的东西，因为政治它本来就是一场戏嘛，所以我会觉得我其实没有必要去说那些事情，除非它真的影响到我，或是干扰到我很严重，我才会想要去说一些关于政治的事情。
Regardless of their differences, Taiwan's independent musicians see their involvement in music as a journey they all travel together as a community. A journey not just to win audiences, but to build from their passions sustainable careers. And along the way, to touch people with their heart. The community of independent musicians seems to have been built not on commercial interests, but on a classic indie spirit, based on mutual support and benefit among musicians and audiences alike. For Spring Scream organizers Jimmy Mo and Wade Davis, their journey largely helped to grow that community. For them, it's been a journey they've traveled for 15 years. Today, Jimmy has driven more than 2 hours to meet his partner, Wade Davis. The two have not met since concluding the 2009 Spring Scream Festival almost 2 months ago.
My ass hurts. Classic memorabilia.
See the new, remember that? Our kids that we were teaching drew all together. This is our first band. This is the band we were talking about. Spring Scream 1996, get ready.
Spring Scream started in about 1995 with a fun but modest goal of just getting our band and our friends' bands out of Taipei, out of the big city, down to Kending together for a weekend of just sharing music with each other. Our theme was like by bands, for bands. So we were all working together to make it happen.
I don't know if that's a crowd shot. Turn to page 2 for our Spring Scream survival guide.
The whole idea was how to keep the costs down, and it's a lot cheaper to rent a sleeping bag and have people pay for their own tickets. But we did lose money the first 3 years we did this event.
This is 1 year's ticket, and this is another year's.
Spring Scream began originally as an independent music festival between friends, financed collectively by the festival's performers. Jimmy and Wade weren't interested in outside sponsorships and endorsements, but as the festival grew bigger, so did the costs. By this time, however, the huge amount of publicity generated by newspapers and overseas magazines created strong interest from corporate entities who saw marketing potential in the youthful masses that thronged the festival year after year. Gradually, independent music's DIY ethic and anti-commercial image gave in to the pressures of economic reality. Or perhaps it was the other way around. Big business recognized the obvious commercial potential of the independent music scene, and they sought to associate with its infectious, idealistic spirit. As far as Jimmy and Wade were concerned, the injection of corporate endorsement was a much-needed shot in the arm, helping them realize an even more massive effort. But despite the growing scale of Spring Scream, one feature hasn't changed. Many of the people who help put up the festival are young volunteers who pitch in purely out of passion for the music.
From a society point of view, it was the age group of people that were in their late teens, early 20s were all simultaneously looking for a way to begin to express this newfound desire to be creative and to find and make music together.
While Jimmy and Wade reminisce about their legacy to Taiwanese music, one Singaporean musician is just about to enter the scene as an eager participant. Carissa, the bass player from the Singaporean independent band Tutsa, is on a student exchange program in Taiwan. She hopes her stay here could help her promote her band's music and perhaps pioneer the efforts of other independent bands from Singapore. Gaojin has promised to be her guide to a couple of places that might be useful for her future musical endeavors in Taiwan. Gaojin is one of the many musicians in Taipei who juggle playing in a band with work or school. His previous band recorded and released albums independently, something Carissa hopes to learn a little more about here in Taipei. Their first stop, a record shop in Taipei popular among music lovers looking for independent releases from all over the world. Here, Carissa picks up some pointers that might be useful when the time comes for her to release her own album in Taiwan.
就是想问，如果我们以后自己有压 CD 的话，可以放在这边。
可以啊，可以啊。你把那个artwork设计好，然后给我们，我们在这边自己帮你压、自己印刷。那个可能牵扯到有大家彼此有一些。
自己压比较好。
就自己压比较。就
比较单纯，比较简单，对，比较简单。
我们之前有。
Beyond just showing her the commercial angle of things in Taiwan, Gaojin also shares with Carissa about the prevailing trends in Taipei in the hope that she can understand the local market better. To help her even more, Gaojin insists that Carissa join him in checking out a band that's currently getting attention, not only in Taipei, but Tokyo and Beijing as well. An all-girl punk band, very much like her own. Formed in 2003, BB Bomb play loud, catchy tunes with fairly straightforward lyrics, performed with an often described casual rowdiness. Their raw sound and image are a far cry from their more familiar girl group counterparts in the commercial market. Their refreshing style has caught on with a growing pool of fans, not just in Taiwan, but in China and Korea as well.
It's an eye-opener, I must say. You know, I mean, the Taiwanese in general, they're just very friendly and they're very open and sociable people, and I think that reflects in the way they handle things when it comes to music.
You know, 30 years ago, it was a totally different island, but this generation has had it a lot easier, but you know, they're able to express it in more of an artistic way. And I think there's also a general within the culture, just a general love of music. The society as a whole encourages it, even though it's indie.
All legends have their beginnings. Today, Jimmy and Wade make a pilgrimage to the site of their very first music party. They arrive at an abandoned military bunker, which, almost 2 decades ago, served as the venue for the first of the duo's many independent music extravaganzas.
Well, we used to live right back there in those houses. And in order to not get a noise complaint from neighbors, we had to get out of the house. And this used to be completely empty at night, nothing but sugarcane and stars and quiet, just sound of insects.
Well, we haul everything out on our
motorcycles.
Generator, amps, speakers, guitars, drum kit. So it'd take a couple trips.
Yeah.
So we'd stick the generator up here so we didn't have the generator sound. and we do an extension cord right into one of these.
So you could go in from this big underground chamber, you could go in through a tunnel and then upstairs that would bring you up to the top. So there were 3 floors connected by ladders that we would have lit with a string of lights or candles on the inside. And anywhere from 20 to 200 people scattered downstairs, upstairs, on the outside.
Check 1.
There's probably still artwork on the walls. We did a lot of chalk artwork on the walls. The farmers always said, look out for snakes. Yeah, there's our chalk artwork still inside. Anybody, students, teachers?
Students, teachers, musicians, people would come down from Taipei. And if you go this way, takes you up to the gun turret, and you can go check out the view from the top.
One thing that I've always loved about the origins of Spring Scream was I'd say the first, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years, we really didn't do any promotion. Everything was just encouraged to be word of mouth.
All this, it still hasn't changed much. I think we could probably still do a party here.
As Wade and Jimmy reminisce about their humble beginnings, Freddy is already on his way to create a new chapter in the history of his band. Thonic have become big stars in the global metal scene, with regular touring in the United States and Europe. But something in the cards promises to push them even further to the forefront.
我们从去年录完音，大概是8、9月份录完，然后这个签约。跟唱片公司签约的事情拖了很久，就包括 Century Media 啦、Nuclear Blast， 还有现在我们签约的这个 Spy Farm Universal， 好多个厂牌在讨论，然后很难下决定。那一直到上个月，最后才做了决定，跟那个 Spy Farm Universal 签约。那一签约，我们就决定说要赶快告诉乐迷，所以我们决定办一场演唱会，来跟乐迷一起。算是同乐一下。
The upcoming record deal with Spine Farm Records would mean that Thonic could now effectively be marketed commercially to the big metal markets of Europe and the United States. It's a big step for an Asian band playing only Chinese music. For Freddy, what better way to herald this exciting development than to hold a concert at a venue many consider to be an icon of independent music in Taiwan, The Wall. The Wall is a live music venue opened by Freddy, Jimmy Mo, and another organizer of the legendary Spring Scream Festival. They intended for The Wall to act as a nurturing platform, promoting the careers of young musicians. The Wall proved to be a successful concept, not just for musicians, but for audiences as well. There's always a strong turnout here, drawn to a myriad of new sounds and expressions. Proof of the openness the Taiwanese have toward independent music. Regardless of the different genres of different bands playing, The Wall was another step that helped independent music gain widespread appeal.
The two of us know what it takes to really squeeze a budget and at the same time try to raise the level of musical integrity from the street up to the next level to the next level. I think that's something pretty unique.
Away from music and stripped of his makeup, Freddy too has some very down-to-earth indulgences that seem rather unlikely for a rock star. Before a big show, Freddy has a quiet meal alone at his favorite noodle shop and a visit to the local hairdressers. Humble indulgences that are a comforting counterpoint to his larger-than-life persona on stage. As Freddy settles into the more sedate aspects of life in Taipei, another Taiwanese musician, Fufu, is just about to begin her day's work, a band rehearsal for an upcoming show in a much humbler venue. Like many idealistic independent musicians, free from the luxuries of a commercial marketing machine, Fufu faces a daily battle to win popular acceptance for her own unique brand of music. While it may be popular to an indie crowd, BB Bomb have yet to win mainstream appeal.
台湾的社会现在越来越没有保守了，只是大家的想法变得比较固定了。就是他可能开放到一个程度，可是他就觉得你就是要照着我讲的这一条线去走，你只要超出我这条线的话，我就会觉得你很奇怪。可是其实他们想法也算是开放，就是他们的范围其实很窄，不会是一个很宽的开放的范围，只截取开放的某一个部分而已。
但是现在跟10年前来比，在看待这些乐团，我觉得是非常进步了，就是说有很明显的进步。现在爸爸妈妈会带他的小孩跑去一个里面每一个人都是刺龙刺虎的地方让他教鼓啊，教吉他，这在10几年前不可能发生的事情。所以我觉得，以现在的这个社会来讲，在台湾来讲，独立音乐其实已经算是得到很重大的一个尊重啦，很重要的进步。
As BB Bomb go through their set, Carissa feels privileged to get such a rare and intimate understanding of an ethos that prevails among Taiwanese independent musicians. A spirit characterized by a willingness to take risks, to create their own unique style of expression, a dedication to have their voices heard.
I think today I had a taste of like how the Taiwanese play their music, like especially from the BB Bomb. I mean, although I can find similar bands in Singapore like that, but it really has the Taiwan flavor. I can't really explain it, but I think what they have that we quite lack is maybe that enthusiasm, and perhaps I think in most Singaporean bands we're quite reserved. But when you see BB Bomb, like that spontaneity, yeah, it's different.
Unfortunately for Carissa, she can't stay long. Her last train back to Kaohsiung leaves within 30 minutes, and she has to part with her newfound friends for now.
I never even thought like it'll be so active, the music world here, and to even see that people are doing their best in something that's so micro, like so indie, I think that's quite a motivation to play music properly. I think the next time I come to Taiwan, I want to like really go immerse myself in like the Taiwan music scene, probably by going to like venues with multiple bands playing. I think that will give me a better sense of like the scene here.
It's a lonely 2-hour train ride back to Kaohsiung via the high-speed rail. Carissa has to forego dinner with the band because of early classes tomorrow. She leaves, though, with a wealth of insight. She takes along with her, too, a little bit of the band's optimistic idealism. This won't be the last she'll see of BB Bomb, though. Carissa promises to meet them again next week at one of their performances. And so, within the course of only a day, Carissa has managed to make her first inroads into Taiwan's all-embracing independent music community. Meanwhile, in another part of Taipei, Thonic get ready to celebrate a new chapter in their musical career. The band get into character, an image their fans know and love.
其实最早一开始的时候，当然是模仿，想说欧洲人的时装怎么样，就这样来弄弄看。后来发现还蛮丑的，就是自己光是完全用北欧人的方式画在自己脸上，觉得不太行。因为其实东方人的脸很平啊，所以如果你画那样子的东西上去自己的脸上以后，就什么表情都看不到了。
Freddy and company wanted to create for themselves a distinctly Asian identity among a heavy metal fraternity dominated by Western bands. It became especially important for them when they came to steadily infiltrate that very fraternity.
你要怎么样让装扮跟你的音乐是有相关、是结合的，那就才发现说，其实我们的祖先本来就已经画很久了的东西。这几百年来，他这样画下来，他就是慢慢会发现，台湾人怎么画好看，台湾人怎么画会有要达到的这个恐怖的效果。我会觉得自己就像是一个桥梁一样，我喜欢的一个东西，但是它虽然是从这个欧美出现的一种风格，但是我却让它跟台湾有连接，而这个连接是让台湾很多年轻人、很多喜欢听 metal 的人，他发现听金属不是只是隔一层，而是有一种我的金属，我不是在听金属而已，原来还有一种东西是我的金属，那这个是让我自己觉得蛮坦然的事，就是我会觉得这个是对的。
The party is a resounding success, but even as the band congratulates themselves on a set well played, they also know that from this day forth, there will be a whole new set of challenges as they work towards breaking into the international market. The night lights dim and day breaks. The applause fades and the realities of life in the city resume. Unlike Freddy, Fufu does not have as much to look forward to in this new day when it comes to her musical career. Fufu, like many other independent musicians, though successful in the Taiwanese and perhaps even the Chinese-speaking indie scene, is still waiting for her big break into the international arena. Offstage, Fufu has to contend with a fairly ordinary life. It's an uncertain fate a musician lives by, yet Fufu draws strength from the bond she's made with this ever-evolving community she lives within. Fufu has seen many band members come and go since founding BB Bomb 6 years ago. But while they may either have stopped playing or play with other bands now, they remain part of a huge network that supports her and all independent musicians. Even if they live in another city, they're still her friends.
我说很少回来，可是我都会常常打给他们，然后问他们说现在台中大家开不开心这样子。我不知道为什么女生就一直没有办法固定的在做一件事情，然后很多小小的外力的因素，他们就会想要离开或是改变。我去台北是因为就是团员都已经换了，然后几乎都是住在台北，所以我就搬到台北去。他们讲笑话，你本来就很好笑啊。
Fufu's story is a common one in Taiwan's burgeoning independent music scene, where band members are constantly playing musical chairs in the hope that one day they may end up in a band that may actually break through to the mainstream. Others, like Jim&Wade, who have seen the scene develop over the last 19 years, have their own take on this phenomenon about the realities of young Taiwanese playing their own brand of original music.
You have your rites of passage as you go through high school, you go through university, you probably go to the military for a couple of years, and at any point through this stage, you're sort of given that wake up reality check of what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And as a band, a lot of people mature as they have their first and maybe their second band, and they may have dreams of grandeur. But when the band disseminates for one reason or another, it's that reality check. And some people drop out at that point and don't do music, but the people who continue on, they join another band or start another band or continue on that. And it's not a question of, am I gonna be the next Britney Spears? The question is more, what am I going to do today? I want to play music. I want to make music with people I can make music with, and it becomes it's a lifestyle.
Look at that little owl go. Join Steven Tyler, Ellie Goulding, Usher.
This is a very cool and modern way to introduce animals.
Dave Matthews,
Instant Toad, just add water.
Joan Jett, and Christina Aguilera.
You don't mess with Mama.
Hello World, a new nature series with stories and songs from music's biggest stars. Next on Discovery Channel.
5 single men
Valley and I have not met face to face.
think they've found the one.
But there's just one thing. I have